morning, everybody. This is Jewish Talk on the voice of NASA Community College, 90.3 WHPC, streaming live on the college station, ncc.edu/WHPC. I'm Rabbi Pearl, and today, dear friends, I'm happy to report to you that I did reach the end of my rope. You wonder, what am I talking about? I did not speak about this on the radio program at all. But those who knew, well, let me tell you who knew about this. A lot of people knew about this. This past Friday, about 1 p.m., I rappelled down the 170-foot tall tower, the education tower at the NASA Community College at the center of the campus here. This was an amazing, what is known as the Over the Edge program. And many, many people over Friday and over the weekend had a chance to rappel down the side of the building. And I joined this important effort made by the EOC, an important humanitarian effort here in Long Island and New York. And I wish to thank them for allowing me to join them on this effort. So I was harnessed up, and I had to rappel literally on my feet, rappelling my feet down the side of the building. So whenever you go by then you see the word T, think about me, because my foot was on there. In fact, I'm auctioning off online my shoes. I'm going to autograph them. Those are the shoes that went down the side of the building. Now you're wondering, what's going on here, Rabbi? Are you okay? I mean, the summer just began. Has the heat gotten to you? Well, we're all enjoying our summer, beginning of the summer. We've gotten great vacations planned, or you've gone on vacation. But I thought this would be an opportunity for all of us not to forget that there are so many individuals and families who struggle with basic needs right in our local community, and they face fear and obstacles. Most of us can't imagine when it comes to all kinds of drug problems and other addictions and everything else. But you know what? They're able to take a brave step every day to face their fears and overcome their hurdles. And if people who are truly struggling have the courage to wake up and face the day, I thought it would be fun and meaningful to have the courage to go over the edge and rappel down the 170-foot tower at NASA Community College. And I really want to say at the opening of our program today, I want to honor and encourage and applaud the efforts of so many I know who really enrich our communities in their own life's huge leap, in courageously making every effort to choose sobriety and recovery from drug addictions and everything else. As one of the wonderful people who were there, pointed out that, and a point that I wanted to make, that, there, when I came down, Baruch Hashem, there were a lot of people there. I'd like to recognize each of them who are the so-called VIP welcome committee: Jean Marie Bradenston, there was Sandra Fox, there was Philip Kushner, Robert Kushner, Sheila Kushner, Stephanie Kushner, Harriet Levy, and Linda Levy. There was Joanne Sand, Joe Scalera, who is the village clerk of Mineola, joined us, Alan Bookvar and his wife Dorothy, Malka Kipnis, Shari Einhorn from 12 News, Richie Kessel, Jay Hoffman, Michael Moroznik, the lawyer, and Goldie Bennett, amongst many others who joined us. I had this wonderful committee who were there cheering me on and making all kinds of jokes. I should keep my daytime job. And one guy says to me, Rabbi, how come you didn't clean the windows as you came down? I did try my best. And but you know what? Not everybody who comes over the edge, literally or figuratively, have any welcoming committee or any cushion, so to speak. They just silently just go over the edge. And we want to emphasize and bring to our attention of the importance of remembering those who quietly go through life, who don't have all the wonderful support systems that each of us, thank God, have in so many different ways. But hang on, everybody. Grab that rope. And I'm not talking about my tzitzis, but I was wearing my tzitzis. And in case the rope, needed more rope, I was able to, tie it with my tzitzis. There's a Hasidic saying that when you're bound above, you don't fall below. And when you're confident that you can face the challenges, no matter how formidable, that empowers you and your surroundings to actually accomplish that task. It's all about confidence. But how does one gain such absolute unwavering confidence? How do we acquire the strength to face every challenge in different ways? The answer is very simple. We gain the power by connecting that which is above us to God. We must become aware of our essential connection to our life's mission. Yeah, we all have a mission, and to the divine calling with which each of us have been charged with. And therefore, on a day like this, as we begin the weekend, we must remember our absolute faith in this connection, and it instills us with complete certainty that we have the ability, we have the resources to fulfill our mission. By connecting to our ancestors, by praying to God, we attach ourselves to a force that's beyond ourselves. And let me tell you, when I was hanging over the edge there trying to come down, I really understood that. And this is connection that allows us the ability to transcend the immediate hardships and overcome the present challenges. And therefore, I want to say a big shout out to everybody who joined us and everybody who called and emailed and sent wonderful greetings. And there will be a full report on our Facebook and emails in the coming days. So you'll get a good feeling of not only the fun that we had, and eventually there'll be audio because I was attached to a digital recorder and a Lavelle, and it was videoed, and have some fun. But you know what? In everything in life, we have to learn to connect it to something bigger than ourselves. So I took the opportunity with Hashem's help, and I thank Hashem for the success of coming down and here to share with you the lessons that we can. And the truth is, all of us in life, whatever you're going on to vacation or whatever particular thing you may like or see, always try to connect it to Hashem, because you can learn about life from everything that we go through in life. So here we are, dear friends, moving forward to Independence Day, also referred to the 4th of July, July 4th, right? We all know it's a federal holiday in the United States. It commemorates the adoption of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th of 1776. As you all know, the Continental Congress declared that the 13 American colonies regarded themselves as a new nation, the United States of America, and they were no longer part of the British Empire. So, Independence Day is commonly associated with fireworks and parades and barbecues and reunions and political speeches, etc., etc. Today I'd like to bring to your attention of the role of a particular person, an Orthodox Jew, and an amazing patriot of the American Revolution. We're speaking about Mordechai Sheftel, an Orthodox Jew who lived in pre-revolutionary Georgia, was one of the first colonists to call for the rebellion against the British rule. He helped organize America's revolutionary armies, at times paying for soldiers' uniforms and rations out of his own pocket. He was captured by the British, who called him a very great rebel, and he spent time on a brutal prison ship and helped build Jewish communities in the United States he'd helped found. Now, his parents were Benjamin and Perla Sheftel, who were some of the earliest settlers in Georgia. Benjamin sailed to the new colony in 1733 from London, along with 40 Jewish families, and settled in Savannah area. When Mordechai was born in 1735, Mazel Tov, in Savannah, he was one of the very first native Georgians born in the new colony. The family was poor, and a few local schools could only educate Mordechai to the age of 11. Mordechai quickly became a successful businessman. By 17, he was tanning deerskins, and by 18, he'd saved enough money to buy grazing land in Veronburg, near Savannah, and he raised cattle. By 25, Mordechai owned a warehouse on the Savannah River and was a prominent local trader. At the time, Savannah's Jewish community numbered only 6 families. Mordechai married a Jewish woman named Fanny from Charleston, South Carolina, and together they helped build up the Savannah Jewish institutions. They were the founding members of the town's sole synagogue, congregation Mikveh Yisrael, at first holding services in their own home. Mordechai also donated land for Savannah's first Jewish cemetery. He was a pioneering member and a sole Jewish representative in Savannah's Union Society, a non-denominational religious group helping widows and children. He maintained his religious observance and ate only kosher food. Politically, Mordechai was an outspoken proponent of independence and a member of the Pro-Independence Union Society and one of the clandestine group of men dubbed the Liberty Boys, who met in secret as early as 1774 to plan ways to protest British taxation and to take control of its own colonies. By 1775, these audacious men, known as the Liberty Boys, disabled British cannons, preventing them from being fired in public celebration of King George III's birthday, and they erected a Liberty Pole monument in Savannah to protest British rule. The group also stole gunpowder and bullets from the British forces, secreted them away to use them in case of war with Britain. Well, in 1776, Mordechai's fellow patriots elected him chairman of Savannah's Revolutionary Committee. This group soon seized control of Savannah. This populist nature of these rebels horrified the British. The royal governor of Georgia complained that Savannah was now controlled by a parcel of lowest people, chiefly carpenters, shoemakers, blacksmiths, with a Jew at their head. In 1777, with the Revolutionary War underway, the Continental Congress made Mordechai Commissionary General of Purchases and Issues for rebel troops in Georgia, and in 1778 appointed him the Deputy Commissionary General for troops in Georgia and South Carolina. In other words, Mordechai was responsible for making Kiddush, for supplying the Georgian soldiers with food, clothing, weapons, and other material. It was a nearly impossible task. Shortages plagued the American rebels during those years. And remember, George Washington famously estimated a third of his troops had no shoes. But Mordechai was determined that troops under his care fared better. When the Continental Congress failed to provide funds for outfits for troops in Georgia and South Carolina, Mordechai used his own money to pay for equipment and food, then took out huge loans to buy even more, bankrupting himself in the process. Mordechai saw action as well and fought British forces. Both Mordechai and his 15-year-old son, Sheftel, fought in the First Battle of Savannah. As British troops overpowered and outnumbered the Patriots, many American rebels escaped by swimming across the Savannah River for safety. Sheftel wasn't able to swim. However, Mordechai refused to abandon his son. Both were captured by British soldiers along with 185 other rebels. His British captors called Mordechai a very great rebel and also noted his Jewishness, singling him out for special harsh treatment and questioning. Mordechai and his son were denied food for 2 days and were threatened with death by bayonet unless they divulged military secrets of the rebels. They refused to betray their fellow rebels and were imprisoned for months on the infamous British prison ship in the Nancy under harsh conditions. Knowing that he was an observant Jew, his British captors gave Mordechai no meat other than pork, which he refused to eat. While he was held captive, Mordechai's fellow rebels elected him the president of the Pro-Revolutionary Union Society of Savannah in absentia. Eventually he was freed. Mordechai and his son were allowed to live near Savannah under virtual house arrest. When the local colonists who sympathized with the British started hunting and killing rebel troops, Mordechai and Sheftel managed to gain berths on the ship heading to what they hoped was freedom in Charleston. Instead, disaster struck. They were captured at sea by a British frigate and sent to a British colony, Antigua, in the Caribbean, where they found themselves imprisoned once again. From Antigua, Mordechai petitioned the Continental Congress to negotiate his release, and the family eventually regrouped in Philadelphia in 1780. There, Mordechai continued his work for the revolutionary cause and also helped build a new synagogue for the city's burgeoning Jewish population. Though he tried to build a shipping business, his ventures didn't succeed, and his family lived in poverty. Their former great fortune was spent on supporting the revolution. After the war, the Sheftels finally returned to their beloved Savannah. Their extensive family businesses were gone because the British troops had long seized and dispersed his family's properties. Mordechai petitioned the new American government to repay the many loans he'd made to the revolutionary cause, anechtig atog, to no avail. Mordechai worked as a state employee charged with procuring in the new state of Georgia, and he did much to help usher in freedom. He also threw himself into Jewish communal work, serving as the president of his synagogue that he'd found, and he passed on July 6th in 1797.